impactful edition of Change Talk, a platform where real conversations happen around creating healthy alternatives to neutralizing gangs in Pelham, Georgia. Today's discussion is personal for me, and it should be for every resident of Pelham, Georgia, and the Mitchell County, Georgia area. We're not just talking about programs. We're talking about people, young people, who need guidance, structure, and hope. And we're talking about leadership that doesn't wait for tragedy to act, but moves to prevent it. And when we talk about that kind of leadership, one of the names that always comes to mind around here is Chief Neely McCormick, a man whose vision and consistency and deep connection to his community have helped shape the safety and the strength that we've seen today in our law enforcement professionals in Pelham. Again, I have the privilege of sitting down with Chief Neely McCormick, a man who's over 40 years of experience as a chief of police in Pelham and over 47 years of experience in law enforcement. It speaks volumes of who he is and his commitment to public service. His leadership laid the groundwork for the change initiative, and his continued guidance and leadership ensures that it stays rooted in the values and strategies that matter most to this community. Chief McCormick, thank you for being here. Thank you again, Captain Lamb. You know, we've been having this consistent conversation from week to week.
Yes, sir.
And I want to ask Chief McCormick a few questions, and Captain Lamb, feel free to chime in where you feel is necessary. Chief, when you reflect on your incredible career, and what has been the biggest change that you've seen in community police relations in Pelham and Mitchell County over the last few decades?
Well, there's a huge difference in the way things used to be done and what we're trying to strive to do today. In fact, it's almost been 50 years now. The police philosophy back then was basically just reactive. Make as many arrests as you could. If you got a call, you went to it. There wasn't much emphasis on preventing crime or even trying to divert people away from crime. It was catch them as quick as you can. And of course, I went through training when this philosophy first came out and after I became police chief. Of course, I did some things before that as a captain, used to be in his position. And I first learned about crime prevention, and I had people from crime prevention from Albany to come in, and we emphasized like neighborhood watch, and there was Operation ID, those kind of things. But as I become police chief, there was a new philosophy called community policing. And so I invited people in to do training. We trained our whole police department in the community policing. Then I've been to Israel for training with the Georgia Executive Law Enforcement Exchange from the University of Georgia State University. And we think we've got problems here, but they've got incredible problems in Israel. So I was able to learn some things from that, and to try to come back and put in practice here. And of course, you and I talked, and have actually been working on things for a very long time, trying to figure out how we can improve quality of life, how we can divert young people from tragedy by getting involved in gang activity. Because it's always better to try to avoid a problem than just try to fix it. And of course, we didn't create this gang culture to come in, but we're trying our best, working you and I together, try to figure out what we can do here in Pelham, Georgia, to try to save these kids from getting into this tragedy that's been happening. Because once a child, once you make an arrest, you've already lost everything. Because there's that tragedy of that arrest, and some of these kids, like we've had kids go off with life with no possibility of parole. That's a horrible tragedy. Next to death, that's about the worst you could have. And it's a tragedy for that family. It's a tragedy that for the person who lost their life. And so that's what.
Thank you for that, Chief. something there. You've always emphasized a proactive engagement rather than reactive policing. And you mentioned that years ago when I was fresh out of college in the early 90s, I remember when you called me and me and several other people, and we had that engagement where we were dealing with youth. I can't quite remember all of it that we did so long ago, but you were doing it then, and I really applaud that for you. I do have a question though. How do you view the role of the Creating Healthy Alternatives Neutralizing Gangs program in aligning with the philosophy you talked about? How does that align today?
I think that's our best hope. You don't really see a lot of programs. I see, and I've engaged a lot with a lot of police chiefs, and they're looking for some kind of solution. And it's not moving in that direction. With you and I, we've been communicating, and our best hope is try to engage the public to help with this. This is not a police problem. This is a community problem. Now, the police have a role in it, but usually we're late in the game. By engaging the public in this thing, and families, churches, everybody's got a role in this. And there's a little piece of the pie, because certainly the police can't solve this problem. But families, by getting involved, changing values, or installing a value system that is away from this gang activity, which is a dead end. Getting people to try to engage these kids, because these kids want to be part of something, part of the family, part of the church, or part of something else. And if they're not engaged by being part of something, they don't get involved being a gang, because that's going to be their family. That's how they get engaged with these gangs. And that's a dead end, and it's a tragedy. I'm just hoping that by getting, and it will work. It will work if the public will get engaged. All these different organizations, the civic organizations, the churches, pastors, aunts, uncles, they'll get involved. They can change. You can make a change with these kids, and maybe we can save some people from a tragedy.
Agree with that. You speak about that. It's very, very powerful that looking through the lens that you look through. Now, what advice, and we know that we're dealing with a different generation of people, not just the people we're dealing with, but also the people who are enforcing the law. They're different. There's a different set of people. What advice would you give younger officers and new leadership about the importance of building trust, community trust, especially when you're dealing with youth and families impacted by violence or gang influence?
Well, first of all, the officer actually has to care. We'll do the training, and we have to emphasize that training. We have to emphasize that's our values. That's what we want, is engagement with the community. And the police are not here to try to lord over people. We're part of this community. The police belong to the community. Our purpose is to protect the community. And they actually have to care and engage with these children. Just because you see a kid maybe dressed a little different than what you think he should be, you shouldn't already have in your mind made up, predetermined this is a bad kid, because it's not necessarily. The kid may not have anything to do with gangs at all. But it's important to engage with that child, build that communication, that trust, and also trust in the community. That's part of the really of having the people respect the police department. And so they have to really actually care. You can't fake it. You got to actually care.
You can't hide that.
You can't hide it. And that child will know the difference. And so one thing we try to do, we run real psychological tests on our people. There's no guarantee somebody might slip through, but we try to deal with that. If we discover the wrong attitude. but we have to make it part of our philosophy, pass that down to the patrol officers, encourage the right kind of behavior, and try to engage the people so that we can build that public trust. Without public trust, we're useless.
So Chief, you talk about the importance of us really just kind of influencing kids. You're saying kids are intuitive. They understand. They know whether you care or not. And talk about how important the collaborative model, where education and recreation and family services and law enforcement all work together for long-term prevention, long-term crime prevention in smaller communities, especially like ours.
Well, it's important. One thing, you can't just sit down and eat an elephant at one time. But if you have a lot of different people working on that, you can take care of it. The public with these kids, that's the entire key. I'm talking about the community. We're all part of it, and we have to have everybody engaged in order to change the trajectory of that child when they're headed in the wrong direction. And we're not going to be able to save all of them. There's people who are just determined to take the wrong path. It's always been that way since ancient times. But we can change some of it. And that's what we've got to be. We've got to focus on trying to change as many of these kids as we can.
And this is your vision, this program that we have, and as you continue to advise us on this project and advise the community on this project, when you look for success in this program, what are some of the indicators that you're looking for? What are you looking for as this program and this initiative continues to grow?
I think seeing the public and community actually being engaged. And I've seen some good signs from this already. We have people from different areas of the community that's working on this project, and I already see it starting to succeed.
Great.
You know, it's not going to change everything overnight, but I see it moving.
That's right.
And of course, it's not just my vision, it's your vision too.
Yeah.
You've been engaged in this thing early on. That's one reason why I came to you.
I appreciate it.
Because I've seen you, with the juvenile justice and stuff. So, so this is not mine. This is the community's project.
Appreciate it.
And I just hope I can do my little part of trying to make it succeed.
And I'm asking both of you this question. Captain Lamb, Chief McCormick, I'll let you answer first, and then Chief, you'll respond after him. How can we better equip our officers and community partners to recognize and respond early to signs of youth disengagement? You talk about engagement. How can we teach our officers to respond early to that they disengage youth and gang involvement?
I believe it's going to have to do a lot with the training and making sure that our officers and community partners have the awareness that when they see a kid that might be shying away or standing on the outskirts while we're all in here doing something like they want to come, but they just don't do it, or they keep walking by, that somebody goes out there and makes contact, sees what's going on. Maybe it's something going on at home. Maybe they don't want to come because there's somebody in here who they have a problem with already. It's stuff that we can fix and that we can make things work. We just need to have that self-awareness to, when it happens, to notice it and to start the engagement ourselves.
Anything to add to that?
I'll tell you it's important that officers are well trained, understand the gang training and able to engage. What's more important than the officer are realizing this early is mama, daddy, cousin, uncle, seeing it first so that they can go ahead and start trying to change that child, get them off that path that's a dead end. Because by the time we start realizing it starts being too late, family and community members, pastors, it's more important that they realize this earlier and try to change it then.
Right. And that leads me to another question. Then you talk about identifying, and you said identifying. So how can we continue to reinforce protective factors such as family and family engagement, educational services, particularly through activities that we're having here at the Donnie Coughlin Community Complex?
It's going to be our officer engagement, our concentrated patrols, and by engagement, I mean not just us here standing around, but us talking with the kids, talking with the families, talking with the civic groups in the area, talking with just the people of the community, and making sure that if they have a need that we can meet with our services here, let's try to meet it. And like I said, we are here. We're in walking distance of what we're trying to do and serve, and just being there and aware.
Okay. Anything to add to that, Chief? You pretty covered.
Yeah, I think so. I want to see less violence, and I want to see these kids headed in a different direction.
Captain Lamb, given the unfortunate incidents of violence seen across Georgia, with your role with the Gang Investigators Association, you've seen it recently, and we see it continuing even around here in North Georgia. It's everywhere. And Chief, you said that to me as well. What steps can we take collectively, all of us, to stay proactive, visible, and trusted partners and protectors in our community?
It goes back to something I've always preached to the community. It's to see something, say something. If you see something that's off, let us know. You can call 911 during our off hours and give tips. You don't have to leave your name. You can stay anonymous. We'll come check stuff out. You can call us at the police department during the daytime and talk with us. We'll be more than glad to listen. If you have a problem, let us know. But that would start with, you have to let us know. Yes, we're always going to have officers in the area and do extra patrols here when we can. But if you're not watching out yourself, it kind of defeats the purpose. We need more community engagement.
You don't have to leave your name.
Yeah, you don't have to. You can stay anonymous. Just because you choose to stay anonymous doesn't mean the police aren't coming.
Right.
We're coming and we're going to check it out. But we need to know, because a lot of stuff happens as soon as we leave. Something may happen, and if we don't know about it, well, it's because we just left. Call us back. We're coming right back. We'll check it out.
Okay, you mentioned that, which leads me to another question. We talking about when they see something, but let's just say you have a citizen who wants to help. How can citizens help? What advice would you give families, churches, and businesses about their role in community safety and positive youth development? I would like to hear from you and from Chief on that.
It takes a village to help do this kind of stuff. Chief spoke on it earlier. We need more engagement from the community. If they want to come in and help, let us know. They can get a hold of me, Chief McCormick, Assistant Chief Williams, Dr. Jones. They can get a hold of any of us. Once again, any civic organization that wants us to come and speak and just let them know about gangs in the area or this program itself, we'll be more than happy to do it. Churches, businesses, anybody that just wants a little training on it. We don't care how you want it. If you want it on Zoom, you want it in person, we'll be more than happy to come. But we just need that more engagement from everyone to keep this being successful as it's starting to be.
I think you hit on it. We got to, to ask for more training. We'll come and help. Tell them what to look for. Try to educate them on that. And also, you've got to care. And that's one way of showing you care, is try to learn about the problem. If you don't know what the problem is, then you can't really help.
Address it. Okay. Well, thanks to both of you. It come to the end of my questioning, but I do want I'm going to give you the opportunity to speak to the folks who may be listening, and I'll let you go first, Captain Lamb.
Okay.
When we talk about utopia, the greatest sense, whatever we want to get from this, at the end of the day, this is what we want to have happen in Pelham and in Mitchell County.
Well,
What is it for you? Speak to.
For the most part, it's a better living for our youth. But one thing I want to point out is that we don't just work here, we're all invested. You live here, Chief lives here. I may not live here, but this is where my children go to school. And to be honest, you can ask any juvenile I've ever dealt with when I'm dealing with their parents. Your child has now become my child because I'm going to help you. You just got to let me know. I'm all for helping the kids. I got kids on the football team. I got kids graduating. I have kids here. Chief has raised a whole family here and lives here. I have been tied to this community since I was a dispatcher back in 1999. And now here I am working as a police officer here. So I say this 1,000 times. I know people, if you see something, say something. Let us know. Call me. I know we're going to put my number up at the end. Call me directly if you need to. Just let me know concerns you have. And it's something that if we can fix it, we'll fix it right away. If it's something we need to work on, we're going to get to working on it.
Thank you. Chief?
Pretty simple. You can make a difference. Get involved. Do your part, because you have a role in this solving these problems.
And thanks to both of you. Chief McCormick reminds us that public safety is not just about patrol cars and handcuffs. It's about presence, prevention, and people. It takes all of us, from faith leaders to football coaches, from City Hall to the housing projects. Change, creating healthy alternatives, neutralizing gangs effectively, belongs to this community. And as we move forward, we're going to not just be asking about how we stop violence, we're going to be asking about how to build peace, one child, one family, one conversation at a time. Stay tuned and stay engaged. And if you see something like Captain Lamb likes to say something, because change only works when the community leads it. Thank you so much, and thanks to CEO Ms. Rhonda Brown and Georgia South Productions for taking care of us in this production, and we appreciate her commitment to working with us. She is a change partner, and we thank her for everything that she's done to support us, and we just look forward to having a long and fruitful dialogue about what we can do in Pelham, Georgia, and the larger Mitchell County, Georgia, to change the relationships that we have with our youth, enhance community policing, and do what we have to do and do our reasonable service to this community as community partners. Thank you.